Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Courageously Authentic Leadership Summit. I'm so glad to have you all with us today and to bring to you Wendy Howell. Wendy is the CEO at Executive Council Network. ECN is an invite-only executive council that provides opportunities for connections, community, executive elevation, and venture investments. And I am proud to be a founding member of this community. It is incredible, the people that come together to elevate each other. It's really remarkable. And we work collectively with all of our members to create a positive business and social impact. So I'm excited to bring to you the wisdom and the guidance that Wendy has to share with you all. She is a connector. I have to let you all know that. Connector, a community builder for good, and a passionate advocate for giving back. Her previous roles include Chief of Staff at Cisco and executive roles in M&A and Strategy at Symantec and VERITAS. She is deeply involved in nonprofit as a managing director for Girls in Tech, chair of STEM Scouts, co-chair of 50/50 Women on Boards, and a judge for the young entrepreneurs and founder circle at DivInc. She considers herself a rebel with a cause, which I love, and is known for her dogged tenacity and creativity to support her passions. And nothing, I will tell you, nothing excites her more than creative, positive social impact and helping to create the next generation of empowered leaders. And that's why she's here with all of us today. So, Wendy, what does it mean to you to be a courageously authentic leader?
So I think of it in this way. The courageous, authentic leadership is really bringing your full and whole self into whatever it is that you're doing, whether that's running ECN or, working with nonprofits, etc. I think all too often in our history, and this is going to sound odd, but pre-COVID, I think we were all, I have to be like this. I have to look like this. I have to be in this box. I have to tick that, or I'm not real. So I'm not, and that's absolutely the definition of not being authentic. And it should come with the good, the bad, and the ugly of who I am. That's the way I am. I like to use the phrase, be unapologetically you, because you are uniquely you, and you have flaws. I have flaws. We all have flaws, but live with those and be transparent. And I mean that, in every way. And I think there's two other words that come to my mind when I think about what the definition is. And, that's really being bold and being human. And what I mean by that is, we used to just hide our, I don't want to call it our flaws, but things that maybe someone might not think fit in a senior director's title or in a CEO's title, et cetera. So I think just, I think it's a more prevalent style now. And I think that because I think the pandemic really changed all of us, and it really did make us more human. So when your dog barked or your baby cried or whatever, we all get it now. I feel like it really put us more on the, that we're all more human and empathetic and real. And I love that. So I hope that does not go away again. So that was long-winded, but.
No, not at all. Not at all. I agree with you 100%. Because it really was like before the pandemic, it's like I had my personal life and I had my professional life, and they stay completely separate. And if I can be one way in one and another way in another, fine.
Yeah, those boxes, right?
Yeah. But the pandemic really just smashed all of that together. And it was like, hey, now you get to face, you are who you are. It's not about you being this way in one area and another way in another. That's exhausting. Like really just having to show, okay, now I got to put the face on and the mask on.
Change my personality. Let me be some civil.
Yes. And we fight against that. And then we wonder why we're drained and exhausted. Well, it's because we haven't been showing up as who we authentically are in all facets of our life. And I'd love to know from you, you've seen so many executives at different levels and different capacities. What's one of the things that how do you see that playing out in people that are in higher level roles or high achievers? Have you seen that playing out in people where they're just exhausted and you can actually tell that they're not showing up as who they really are?
Absolutely. You can feel it. Like you can viscerally, in my eyes, feel it when someone is doing that two different boxes, or maybe it's four different boxes or five different boxes. And I think it manifests itself in numerous ways. Number one, I think that you are not as good of a leader if you are drained. You can't be. You don't have the same energy level. As you said, you're fighting it. I think number two, you will not be as open, honest, transparent with the people that you are leading, again, because of being depleted and non-energized. I mean, as everyone says, like strengths finder, what are the things that really give you joy and make you happy and fulfilled and satisfied? And then when you're feeling that, then of course you're going to be a better leader, because you're in a good space in your life. And just the opposite holds true when you are in those living in different boxes or different houses of civil, I guess I'll call it. It's the exact opposite. You have to lead from a point of passion, I believe. As you can tell, I'm not passionate or energetic about anything.
Not at all.
But I think that's a really it's a really big thing. And I've seen a lot. Most of my career has been spent in big tech, and big tech, it's generally speaking, it can be very high stress level. And I, admittedly, and I could tell you my tech career journey as well, if you like, but admittedly, I have lived in, really dark places before myself, when I was especially earlier in my career, of, just being like so constantly stressed out that I wasn't being the leader that I could be. And so I've tried to work on that in my entire career, which has been really long because I'm old. So don't tell anyone.
You're not that old, Wendy. Is there anything about that journey that you would like to share? Because I know we all have these obstacles that we individually need to overcome. And for you, what were some of those that you wanted to overcome to be a better leader?
Oh yeah, like so many. I will tell you about my journey into the world of technology. I moved to California after doing other things, other places, followed a boy, not the boy that I'm currently married to, but that's okay. And I was there by myself. We of course broke up. And I'm like, what is this thing in the Bay Area called, because I was in retail. I started as a store director and store opener at Toys R Us. Fun fact, random. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, oh yeah, to ride tricycles around at midnight on Christmas Eve, that type of thing. And when I moved to California, I was actually going to work for Saks Fifth Avenue. That's the reason I moved out there. And I get to California, and I'm like, everyone's in technology. I don't even know what that is, but it's cool. And I'm in the Silicon Valley, and this is what everyone's supposed to do. Did not even have a computer. Did not even have AOL yet. So this is like 1,000 years ago. I'm really showing how old I am. But and you mentioned it in my bio, like I am tenacious to perhaps a flaw. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go be in technology. Zero background, zero computer skills, zero anything. And so I've always lived my life with a mantra of say yes and figure out how. So I knew that this is what I wanted to do. I knew I was in the right spot. I had absolutely zero skill set, but I'm like, okay. So I actually went into technology as a temp worker, answering phones at an internal help desk. Like, hello, this is the help desk. Did you reboot yet? Literally, that's how I started my career. So as you might expect, that was a big obstacle to say, hey, I want to be in tech, and I have no idea how or when or where or why. But again, say yes and figure out how. And that has always served me really well. I never went off and took, more schooling or anything like that. I just literally worked my way up through the ranks. And I was, for a long time, I would never tell that story. I was just like, oh my gosh, it made me seem like a weakness. But I'm like, no, it doesn't. It makes me seem like a stronger person for having, the the cojones to
Yeah.
jump into something. And I've used that. That's how I ended up in M&A. That's how I ended up in chief of staff roles, by just jumping in and figuring it out. Because we can all do that, right?
Yeah. And that, I love that you brought up that you shied away from
Mhm.
sharing that at
Mhm.
one point because it seemed weak. But
Mhm.
when in actuality, that is courage.
Mhm.
That is the definition of courage. You said yes, and you're like, okay, here I am. I'm
Now
going to
what do I
figure this
do?
out. Yeah, let's right.
And you
And
have
not
to
to have.
oh, I'm sorry.
No, go
The
ahead.
other thing I was going to say is, you also, at the same time, is like you're building your confidence muscle, right? But you also, I think so many people are, so many leaders don't think of like being humble as a really important trait. And I really do. I mean, going back to Toys R Us days, I would not ask anyone, whether we were opening a new store or running a store, I wouldn't ask anyone to do something that I had not already done or would not do. It's just, it's that, I've been there before. It's like, we'll all do this as teamwork. And that's the way you should teamwork, I think, by being completely supportive in that vein.
Yeah, absolutely. And everyone starts at a different place in their
Exactly.
career. And I
Exactly.
think we have this idea that to be seen as a leader, I have to have gone through this particular journey that others see as, yes, that's the way things progress.
Mhm.
And it's not, because when you are on your own journey, it's very authentic for you and the experiences that you need. That may not be exactly what everyone else needs to get to the
And
place that's good for
I
you.
think that is so applicable today in the university system. I mean,
Mhm.
you can go out today and go to LinkedIn or any other one of 5 million sites and make yourself an expert on anything. So, you know, talking about your journey, right? Not everyone should go to a 4-year degree program.
Yeah.
Not everyone, maybe someone's going to go and learn how to become a plumber by being an apprentice or whatever. So I think, I think though, there's always this, like, you will do this, you will go to 4-year degree, you will blah, 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 you'll get your MBA. Well, I think that's all out the window at this point. I'm not saying, education, I am a huge believer in educating. I'm a huge believer in lifelong learning, but there's lots of ways that we can do that today more than ever. And that's super exciting to me. So
Yeah, all the opportunities and the possibilities that are
absolutely.
available. It's
Absolutely. It's
fantastic because,
huge. Yeah.
yeah, because I know even for me, it was never a question of what am I doing
Yep.
after high school. I'm going to college.
Mhm.
Like that's just what you do,
Right.
and
Exactly.
that served me well. Like I'm not saying that that was a bad thing. What's exciting is like my daughter is 10, and now I see I'm like
Think of
there's an opportunity for her to create life the way that she
what she
wants to.
wants to. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, speaking of daughters, humble
Yes.
brag here. So my daughter just graduated from high school last week, and she is getting ready to head off to Trinity College in Dublin in um, just under 2 months' time. So midlife crisis. This is my movie. Okay. She's my only daughter. So
Oh,
I'm very excited about her. So again, totally different path. And she chose that. She was very specific, probably about a year and a half ago. She goes, just so you know, I'm not going to go to university in the US. I'm going to go to the UK. And I'm like, you go, girl. I mean, my husband and I have
right.
traveled the world over, and I find it fabulous. Like, the more exposure that you can get to different people, different cultures, different, cities, countries, it just makes you a better human being, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. And how amazing for her to have this opportunity to go off and really chart her course.
Yes. We're just negotiating over how many times I get to visit a year, and I'm losing that negotiation desperately.
Oh, it's so exciting.
It is. It
What
is.
so what guidance, Wendy, would you give for someone who wants to up level to be that courageously authentic leader? Because it is a step above standard
Yeah.
leadership. It really is committing yourself to being your true authentic self and creating space for others to do the same. What guidance would
Yeah.
you give to someone?
Yeah. As I mentioned, I am a lifelong learner, and I think we touched on it already, but I learn a lot by osmosis and by doing. And when we just, I mean, this is sort of a repeat of what I said, but there's so much content available to us in today's world. go out and take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Go to YouTube and watch leaders that are talking about this concept, like the amazing Tina Parker. Go to conferences, listen to speakers, read books, invest in yourself, get a coach, and then practice it, because it's really, and you have to pull yourself back. Sometimes you may see yourself start to go, oh, I'm not being my authentic self, so always like trying to do a check-in and am I really? And I'm like a big believer in accountability people. So like my team, I have a very tiny team, but I very specifically push my team to say, hey, if I'm not where I should be, if I'm not acting authentically and et cetera, then, call me out on it. It's a muscle, right? You have to build it, you have to practice it. And you also have to just be really cognizant that none of us is perfect, and you're going to slip out of like, your authentic, courageous leadership style sometimes.
Yeah.
But just know that that's not the end of the world. You just go back into it, right? And then practice more.
Yeah. I think something you just shared there, I think is really powerful. A lot of what you shared is very powerful. But I think a lot of people look at it and go, I have to change the way I am. Mm-hmm. And that's not what you said. You just said, recognize. Mm-hmm. And when you're slipping out of that, just bring yourself back.
Right.
And allow others to hold you accountable. Trust that they will hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things that I've recently come to understand, and I think somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew it, and I put so much energy into making sure people didn't see certain parts of me.
Of wisdom. I feel it. I feel it. Let's go.
Well, I put so much energy into making sure people didn't see these certain parts of who I am. And it's literally like an alien on your face. People see it, right? You're walking around with this big thing hanging off of your face. You're like, nope, there's nothing there. And they're like, yeah, no, it's there. We see it. But we spend so much energy trying not to be a certain way, mm-hmm. instead of just accepting, this is how we are. This is how I am. And I trust the people around me, and I surround myself with people that I can trust to keep me accountable and hold me to who I am.
I mean, and you know me, I will introduce myself as short chick with a big mouth, Scrappy Doo. I mean, and I'm very, obviously, I love jokes and comedy and laughing. That's a huge part of my life. So yeah, be you. Yeah, do you. You do you, boo.
Absolutely. Do you. So Wendy, if folks want to get in touch with you and they want to follow you and what you're doing, where can they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, and I will put that in the chat before we leave.
Okay, awesome. And when we put this out via the email, I'll make sure they have your LinkedIn as well from the chat. Perfect. So that they can connect with you.
Fabulous. And I would love to connect with everyone. As she said, two things that I'm all about. It's connections and community. I'll just reiterate that. So yes, please connect with me. I love people. And I'm married to an introvert, and my daughter's an introvert. So go figure that one.
Well, and that's how we connected too, right? Through mutual friends on LinkedIn who said, hey, I think you guys should get together and connect and talk and see what happens.
And it's JJ Snow, if I recall correctly.
Yes, it was JJ Snow. And so the 4 pillars of courageous authenticity in my mind are clarity, connection, communication, and courage. And I think for you and I, it was that connection. We're both open to connecting with ourselves and with other people. Yeah. And I think that creates space for amazing things to happen. Like I would never have known about the Executive Council Network had I not been open to that connection, and you were open to connecting with me as well. So it's great.
Nothing more important.
No. Did you want to share anything about the Executive Council Network and how folks may be able to get involved if they'd like to?
Absolutely. So I think we sort of talked about it a little bit in the bio. So we're an invite-only executive council. We absolutely have a very simple mission, and that is to create value for our members. We have members everything from C-suite and Fortune 500 to startup founders that we may in fact invest in at some point. So we do events. We have opportunities for networking, partnerships, executive elevation through our partner ecosystem, and even investment through our venture fund and our syndicate. So for anyone here today who would like to come to an Executive Council Network event that runs the gamut in subject matter from everything from building a startup, how do I invest in social impact? How do I build a team? Lots of different I also paragraphs, lots of different content that has all been requested by our members. So I'd love to invite anyone who is on this call to just come to an event for free, check it out. We get amazingly positive feedback from our members and even prospective members on the content that we put forward in our events. So I'd love to see you all at a future event.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Wendy. I will make sure that they get the link for wherever they need to go to join one of those events. Because I will share with everyone listening here too. It's been a major eye-opener for me. Coming from a military background and transitioning into the startup space and the entrepreneurial space, surrounding yourself with like-minded people who are working in that space where you can learn from them, you can share your experiences, and you create something, maybe you create something that didn't even exist before. It's really powerful. And being exposed to some of those, that content that you're talking about that maybe I wasn't even aware of, it's really incredible. So I do encourage anyone who would like to check it out to take Wendy up on her offer to come in and just attend one of the events and learn something new, meet some new people. And then that may open doors for you that you didn't even realize were available.
All about those connections once again.
Yes.
So fantastic.
Absolutely. Wendy, thank you so much for spending the time with us and sharing your expertise. And again, connect with Wendy on LinkedIn and through ECN. And I really just appreciate you for what you're bringing to the world and the doors that you are opening for other people. You are a truly courageous, authentic leader. And I love being a part of your inner circle as well.
Thank you. And back at you, sister. I feel the exact same way. So I'm so happy to be connected with you as well. And thanks to everyone for attending.
Yep. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Have a great day.